What is up, you guys? I'm Charmix. Today I'm going to be reacting to what is the tallest thing we can possibly build. So I assume you mean like tower? And isn't like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai the biggest? But I guess this is kind of like the limit, you know, how high can we actually go? That'll be interesting. But with that being said, the original link's in the description. This is by real life lore, whom I absolutely love. So with that being said, let's begin.
It has always been a human desire to see how far up into the sky their creations can reach. Ancient humans used to gaze up at the night sky and dream about reaching the stars with their buildings. It is only natural for humanity to push further than ever before, and to build taller and taller than anybody before them. But surely there must be a limit to how tall we can eventually build something, right? What is actually the tallest thing that we could theoretically ever build?
See, that I'm interested in. Because I want to know how high we can go. Because I know, you know, in Dubai, they got the highest building. But how high can you go? Like, if you wanted to build bigger, could you? Because at some point, I'm pretty sure something's going to not allow you to build so high. You know, like in Minecraft, how there's a block limit.
To begin with a sense of scale, this is a standard height for a one-story family home, about 4.5 meters tall above the ground. Moving up from there at 128 meters high is the tallest statue in the world. That's a lot
freaking bigger. My goodness, that's that went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Statue so tall that if you jumped from the top of its head, it would take you 5.5 seconds before hitting the ground.
Wow.
Just a bit higher at 139 meters is the tallest roller coaster in the world. But that...
Now, I would like to go on that. I like roller coasters. I think I was on one last year or the year before, and it was pretty high, but nothing compared to this. And, you know, this would be quite an experience. I wonder how far you could see being up that high.
That's not quite as high up as the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was built a very long time ago in 2570 BC. It was by far the tallest thing that we humans had ever built, and it maintained that record for an unbelievable 3,881 years, until it was finally beaten in the year 1311 in England. The Lincoln Cathedral reached a soaring height of 160 meters into the sky, and that remained the tallest.
Like, it doesn't even look that high. Like, obviously it does look pretty big, but if you compare it to some of these buildings, it doesn't look like it would take 5 seconds to fall from the top, right? Which it would actually take longer.
Thing that humans had ever achieved until kind of recently in 1884, when the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. finally surpassed its height at 169 meters. The Eiffel Tower surpassed it quickly and was 301 meters high above the ground, which absolutely dwarfed everything that humans had ever built before it. The Eiffel Tower kind of opened up Pandora's box, though, in terms
of building, so everyone starts going crazy over who can build higher.
Of how tall we could possibly build something. With the advent of wrought iron and steel, the height of our structures could get much greater. The Chrysler Building at 319 meters tall finally unseated the Eiffel Tower after 41 years of holding the record. But the very next year after it was completed, the Empire State Building stole the crown at a
the very next year. Wow, so much for that.
Massive height of 448 meters. But even this record wouldn't last for very long, because starting in 1963, the tallest thing ever built by humanity would actually be a TV mast. The tallest of these ever built was the Warsaw Radio Tower, which ascended to a staggering height of 646 meters. It collapsed in 1991.
Ripperino.
But its height was never surpassed until very recently in 2008. To prepare for the scale of the tallest thing ever built by humans so far, I'm going to include several other very tall and recognizable buildings onto this graph first. But by far taller than any of them is the Burj Khalifa.
There we go. There's the one that I was talking about at the beginning. It's freaking huge.
In Dubai. This monster building is 830 meters tall. It takes 2,909 steps to walk up from the ground floor to the top.
Imagine you work on the Burj Khalifa near the top, and you're late for work and the elevator's broken.
Or you can take an elevator ride that takes 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
2 minutes.
If you jumped from the top and somehow hit the ground without hitting any part of the building, it would take you 20 seconds to fall the entire distance. Go ahead and start a timer at 20 seconds to understand how long of a fall that actually is. But
okay, so we're at 4:04. So let's see 20 seconds from now how long that takes.
the Burj Khalifa is only how tall we have built, not how tall we possibly could build.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. How high can we build?
We could build something significantly higher. So what's preventing us from doing that?
Wait, aren't they building something right now that's higher?
Right now. In theory, there really isn't a limit to how tall we could build something at all, so long as we kept expanding the base of the structure.
Boom! There we go. There's 20 seconds.
To support the added weight on the top. Since the Earth is spherical, there obviously is a limit to how much we could expand the base of the structure by. So given our current technology and resources, the tallest thing we could possibly build right now is likely the Exceed 4000, the tallest structure ever fully envisioned with completed blueprints. It would soar to an insane height of 4 kilometers into the sky, which would make the Burj Khalifa.
Was that like 2 miles or something? That's freaking huge. Could you imagine that? That'd be crazy.
Khalifa look puny in comparison.
That's what it would look like in comparison? Oh, we should build this. That'd be crazy. Actually, that would probably cost so much money. It'd be pointless.
And it would be even taller than Mount Fuji is in Japan. It would even reach about 45% as high as Mount Everest, or 2,748 Toyota Corollas stacked on top of each other. The base of the tower would have to be 6 kilometers across in order to support the enormous weight on the top. It would basically be a metal mountain capable of housing over 1 million people inside of it, and it would.
Oh, that'd be a massive city you would have in it. Why do you have buildings on the outside? Everyone is located on the inside of it.
Would be so gargantuan that it would likely disrupt weather patterns around wherever it is built. The cost of building such a titanic structure.
This is what I'm curious of, because the Burj Khalifa costs an insane amount of money. The Burj Khalifa compared to this is nothing, so this thing would be like trillions of dollars.
Structure, however, is perhaps as equal a ludicrous thought. Estimates range anywhere from $479 billion on the lower end up to $1.4 trillion on the higher end, which is higher than the entire GDP of Russia. The Exceed 4000 is a true testament to possibility, and if we decided to build it today, there's nothing that could stop us from finishing it tomorrow.
Except 24 hours to build something like that's impossible. Also, the amount of time it would take to build something like that, it would take, it must be like 10 years or something. Or like 15 or 20. Because in a recent video I reacted to, people are still building a church that they've been building for 140 years. So to build something like this, that would take freaking forever.
In the future, it may become possible to build even more outrageous structures like a space elevator 100,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface.
Why would you build that? Why would you build an elevator? Why would you build an elevator like, I don't know, was that like 50,000 miles up? That's just stupid. Why would you ever do that? Like, building a city like, you know, the X4000 or whatever, there's at least a point to it. You can house a bunch of people. An elevator going to nowhere, it is just pointless.
Leave it out of this video until now. There doesn't exist a material that we can produce enough of that is both strong and light enough to build a space elevator. But if our technology advances enough in the future, it is theoretically possible to build, which makes this probably the tallest thing that could ever be built on Earth in humanity's future. For some
What? First off, if you can build to 100,000 kilometers, which is what, like 50,000 miles? If you could build that high, why would you say that's the highest? Why couldn't you go to 50,005 miles or 50,000 or 60,000? Like what's saying that's 100,000 kilometers or 50,000 miles is your limit, right? At least we know for the X4000 or whatever that it's possible. We just have to have the money and the willingness to do it. But a space elevator, which we don't even have the technology to build, or there's certain material needed to build, why would you limit that to 100,000?
Perspective, the International Space Station only orbits around the Earth this far away from the surface, while the 100,000 kilometer space elevator would stretch all the way out to here. Due to the Earth's rotation, the top of this elevator would be moving incredibly fast relative to the surface. This means that people on board would experience a modest amount of time dilation, similar to what astronauts on board the International Space Station experience today.
What would be the point of building an elevator like that? And how long would that take to get up and down? That would take so many days to go up and down this stupid thing. I don't know, it's actually quite comical if you think of it.
Astronaut Scott Kelly, for example, spent an entire year aboard the space station, and as a result of time dilation, he returned back to Earth 0.01 seconds younger than his identical twin brother.
Worth it. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. I think this is pretty cool, and that massive thing that we can build, the X4000 or whatever they decide to call it, I would love to see that. That'd be crazy seeing that in like real life. But then you go on and talk about a freaking space elevator that's what, like 50,000 miles long or 100,000 kilometers long. What? But, you know, besides from that, I think this is really cool. And if you guys like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Possibly share with a friend. If you're new, subscribe to the family. Also, make sure you guys go subscribe to Real Life Lore. And I'll see you guys next time. Boop!